The weird thing about seeing someone on social media over and over again is that we kind of start to feel like we know them. We see their face and hear their voice, and we might even get glimpses into their personal lives. That doesn't really mean we know them though, does it? Often, there is much more to the story. Much more than we see on the screen. Daniel Larson is no different. The platforms that Daniel uses currently are YouTube and TikTok, but he doesn't make following him easy. He often gets locked out of his accounts or banned, forcing him to start new ones. If he could hold down a single account for more than a couple of months, he would likely have hundreds of thousands or even millions of followers. The TikTok account that he started after leaving CU Boulder was active between October and December of 2023, and just 2 months was able to amass over 70,000 followers and 1.4 million likes before being banned. The Daniel Larson subreddit, where users discuss Daniel's posts from other sites, talk about trolling him, and share memes about him, has over 70,000 subscribers as well, which places it in the top 2% of subreddits on the site. Maya has been a follower of Daniel for quite some time, and has watched his story unfold. Welcome to Tales from Under the Bridge. I'm Mason Owens. This is episode 2 of The Trolling of Daniel Larson, Lolcow 101.
I saw this video once of, I don't know if it was like a documentary, it was just a video while he was a child. And he's always been special needs his whole life, but that video he seemed happy. If he was in the right environment, he could have thrived. And he ended up where he is now, which I find really sad.
The video Maya is referring to is a local news segment produced by KWGN featuring Daniel at the Tennyson Center in Denver, which supports children with significant mental health and support needs. Daniel had been brought there after he didn't have a legal guardian willing or able to take care of him. A public Facebook page owned by Daniel's mom, Elizabeth Avery Scheimer, reveals that his father was no longer in the picture and that she had disabilities that left her in a wheelchair and prevented her from caring for Daniel properly. The segment showcases Daniel's progress over the 3 years he was there at the Tennyson Center and highlights the Tennyson Center's work.
I learned when I'm in school, to do school and never quit, because if you quit, you won't know what to do. And if someone's trying to get you upset, don't let them make you feel bad about yourself. Just be good and make yourself feel happy.
That was Daniel Larson, age 14, when he was full of hope and potential. Even as a kid, he had big dreams of becoming a famous performer.
I like theater. I love to act. I want a storm chase when I get older. Hopefully I'll be on the news one day.
His grandmother, Nancy Scheimer, is also in the video. The segment explains that she had moved to Colorado to care for him so that he wouldn't have to go into foster care.
He likes himself now. He feels good about himself. I'm not saying he's a finished job. He's got more work to do, but he's a much different child than he was when he first came here.
According to the video, Daniel lived at the Tennyson Center for a year and a half before moving in with his grandmother and continuing to attend school and receive treatment there. At the end of the video, Daniel thanks the Tennyson Center for everything they did for him.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure being here. And they did a lot to help me. I made lots of friends. I learned how to do stuff I never knew how to do before, and it's much better now. Thank you.
Daniel finished school and aged out of the program in 2016 when he turned 18. A year later, he'd be arrested for the very first time for hurting the people he should have loved the most. In November of 2017, Daniel was arrested and charged with third-degree assault as well as property damage. In a destructive episode, he had injured his wheelchair-bound mother and damaged his grandmother's house. Daniel spent 45 days in jail. Years later, in 2021, he posted a TikTok video reflecting on the incident and using his past trauma as justification for his actions. And while they don't excuse his actions, it is clear that Daniel did not come from an easy childhood.
After basically 15 years of my parents hitting me with belts, my dad asking me to smoke cigars as a child, I decided to push my mother out of the way one time when she cornered me when I was 18, and they called that assault, and I went to jail for 45 days.
After being released from jail sometime in 2018, Daniel ended up in various group homes and supported living situations throughout the next 4 years before becoming homeless in 2022. His mother Elizabeth has stated on her YouTube channel that she no longer wants anything to do with him and alleges that he hit both her and his grandmother. Nancy Scheimer, Daniel's grandma, died in 2019, the same year that Daniel would discover social media, a decision that would change his life forever. During this time, one of Daniel's mentors from the Tennyson Center, Bob Proctor, supported him in Nancy's absence. To this day, Daniel frequently posts about Bob and refers to him as his family. Daniel continued to chase his dream of being a celebrity, using social media to promote a prospective music career with Bob's support. With the help of a ghostwriter and producers from a Denver-based studio, Daniel has recorded and released several songs, and they're not bad, actually.
What used to be roaring thunder, northern lights, through the night they fly, pounding hearts, epic voices, rising to the sky.
Unfortunately, Daniel's living situations fell through one by one until he found himself without a place to live in late 2022, when he was kicked out of his housing, following a meltdown brought on by, you guessed it, internet trolls. Daniel filmed the entire incident for TikTok. He can be seen kicking holes in the wall, screaming, yelling racial slurs, and ramming into things. It didn't end well. He once again found himself face to face with police officers.
We'll write in the citation and send him on his way. All right. Okay. Daniel, go get your coat and shoes, whatever you need to leave the house.
Okay.
Daniel has been without stable housing since that day. Instead, he began a cross-country journey that took him across 6 states. Daniel first went to Los Angeles via plane in search of fame, but ended up traveling to Las Vegas, then riding buses through Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas. Finally, he took a plane to New York City. According to Daniel's posts, he was able to fund the trip through a combination of donations from followers, social media income, and help from Bob. He finally returned to Colorado in the summer of 2023. Throughout all of this, he stayed glued to social media, while trolls from all over the country got their chance to mess with him, to pull the strings. No matter what happened, Daniel kept posting. Ofer Torel is an Australian professor who researches technology use and social media addiction. He has found that online communities and social media serve as a coping mechanism for individuals like Daniel who face feelings of isolation.
A coping mechanism. So all these things that they do on the internet, they don't have another community to interact with, and this is their way out. Sometimes, they could even do some odd jobs over or gain money by, I don't know, engaging in like hacking or things like that. But for them, this is their community of friends, right? So as long as society is not fully accepting individuals with mental challenges, it's going to be an issue.
Daniel shared every aspect of his life, the good, the bad, and the ugly. He had accounts on a handful of sites: TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and the social media platform formerly known as Twitter. It didn't take long for the trolls to find him. His steady stream of content, volatility, and gullibility made him the perfect candidate for a lolcow. He was prime for milking. Within a few years, Daniel had gone viral, accumulating thousands of followers and millions of views collectively on the many accounts he would make. Others would begin reposting and making edits of his videos, accumulating thousands of views themselves. As his popularity grew, Daniel began to think of himself as a celebrity to a delusional extent, opening himself up to further manipulation. Somehow, Daniel began to believe that he was dating former America's Got Talent star Grace VanderWaal. In reality, the two have never interacted.
Grace is an amazing, talented person you can only find once in a generation, once in a lifetime. You will never see anything like her again. She's unique, she's funny, she's smart, she has everything that I want in my life. I know I've messed up in my life. Everyone does. But that's not a reason to give up on something. I want nothing else in my life other than Grace, and I will fight every single day until I get it.
Now, nearly 5 years after his emergence onto the internet, Daniel has been tricked into doing things that would be humiliating to most people and convinced of the most outlandish things, resulting in numerous arguments, fights, mental breakdowns, and arrests. All of these incidents were meticulously documented on a subreddit and a wiki-style website that is updated constantly. Trolls were successful in keeping Daniel detached from reality, posing as his managers, his agents, record labels, Grace VanderWaal and her family, and anyone else that they thought Daniel would trust. Like a proper lolcow, Daniel's life had been turned into one big variety show. Liz Fong Jones is an engineer and activist with an extensive experience with trolling. She explained how someone might follow a lolcow or even start trolling. An embarrassing enough fail video, as they used to be called, is all it takes.
Right, you see people being like, haha, look at that fail, right? And then the line from, haha, look at that fail that I found, to let's go and cause more fails, right? Yeah. It is, basically, these kids that are, interested in watching fails wind up, then gossiping, air quotes, about those fails and figuring out how to produce more of those fails, and otherwise kind of getting enmeshed in this, sadistic, we're going to torment people.
This can go on for years, and even decades in the case of the original lolcow, Chris Chandler, who was actively trolled from 2007 until 2022, when she was incarcerated. Chris, who goes by Chris Chan online, went viral for sharing fan art and comics based on the popular Sonic the Hedgehog and Pokemon franchises. Chris posted huge amounts of content featuring a character called Sonichu, a combination of Sonic and Pikachu, convinced that it would be the next big thing. Unfortunately, Chris Chan would be the next big thing in trolling instead of video game crossover comics.
January 18th, 2009. This is another brief update. For those of you who have actually received them, the emails that possibly came from my AOL account, another troll has hacked into my AOL account yesterday and spammed the emails around.
Like Daniel, she has autism, is extremely naive, and was extremely easy to get a rise out of. Trolls would flock to Chris Chan's channel, and now, the decades-long trolling has become the foundation of Lolcow culture. After a while, trolls began to look for new targets. People like Daniel. People stayed tuned on Reddit and Discord pages dedicated to Daniel and other Lolcows, eagerly awaiting the next episode. Daniel has continued to post online, even in the face of overwhelmingly negative results. Ofer explains that this is not unlike how gambling addicts keep going even after losing everything.
So you did something that received negative attention, you didn't get enough likes or less likes than you expected. Now you're going to try something really, push the boundaries, try to get more negative attention. So that's another thing. There is an element of near miss. So, if you expect to get, 1,000 likes and you get 900, you're almost there. So again, it pushes you to push the boundaries and try harder the next time. So there are a lot of motivating factors, and in many cases when you lose, no one cares about your post, so you try harder again. So basically, whatever you do, as long as your behavior is being reinforced by likes and dislikes, then in all of these situations, you're going to be motivated to do something differently, something better the next time.
Daniel's friend Dylan says that Daniel is trapped in a vicious cycle that won't be broken as long as he continues to believe the lies he is constantly being told.
Daniel truly believes that he has a certain amount of adoring and loving fans. Despite all the things that have happened to him in the past, when it comes to these, quote-unquote fans, Daniel believes that he is like this adored celebrity, basically.
Trolls had manipulated Daniel for years. Now, they were about to convince him of another fictitious plot, that he was a student at the University of Colorado. The college arc was about to begin. I'm Mason Owens, and this is Tales from Under the Bridge, the trolling of Daniel Larson.